because life is hard. You're tired because you're acting like you're being watched. Let me say the sentence that will either break your ego or save your future. Nobody cares. Not in a cruel way, in a freeing way. People don't wake up thinking about your mistakes. They wake up thinking about their problems, their fears, their image, their survival. And that means something terrifying. You've been living small for an audience that isn't even there. So here's the real question, listen carefully. If nobody would clap, if nobody would praise, if nobody would ever approve, would you still become great? Because the day you stop begging to be noticed is the day you start moving like a weapon. You stop explaining, you stop proving, you stop waiting for permission. And the moment you accept that nobody cares, you become unstoppable. Because I'm about to say something that will either offend you or free you. Nobody cares. And I don't mean that in a cruel way. I mean it in the most honest, clean, sharp way. The kind of truth that stings for 3 seconds, then saves you for the rest of your life. You know why you feel tired? Not because your life is hard. Life has always been hard. You feel tired because you are carrying an invisible audience on your back. You wake up and before your feet touch the floor, you already imagine eyes on you. What will they think? What if I fail? What if they laugh? What if I look stupid? What if I don't get recognized? What if I'm not chosen? That is not living, that is performing. And the most painful part, the audience you're exhausting yourself for is not even watching. They are busy thinking about themselves. Let that sink in. People don't wake up in the morning to judge you. They wake up worried about their own face, their own bills, their own problems, their own regrets, their own fear of being judged. Most people are trapped in the same cage you're in, except they hide it behind confidence and noise. This is why one harsh sentence can control your mood for a week. This is why one comment can ruin your day. This is why you over-explain, over-apologize, over-prove. Because somewhere inside you, a small part of you is still begging to be approved. Now listen carefully, because this is where the mind plays tricks. When you hear nobody cares, your mind will try to turn it into poison. It will whisper, so I don't matter. It will whisper, so what's the point? It will whisper, so I'm alone? No, that is not the lesson. The lesson is you are free. Because if nobody is keeping score, you can stop acting, you can stop pretending, you can stop shaping your life around reactions that were never guaranteed. And the moment you stop seeking permission, you become unstoppable. But let's be practical. Let's make this real. Think about the last time you wanted to start something. A gym routine, a new skill, a business, a change in your life, and you didn't. Why? You didn't fail because you were incapable. You failed before you even began because you imagined embarrassment. You imagine people watching you at the beginning stage when you're weak, when you're clumsy, when you're learning. You imagine someone saying, "Who do you think you are?" So you stayed small, not because life forced you, because approval became your prison guard. No, I want you to notice something strange about human behavior. When you succeed, people clap, but most of them are not clapping for you. They clap for the idea of success. They clap because it inspires them for 5 minutes, then they go back to their life. When you fail, people talk, but most of them are not talking about you. They talk because it gives them a temporary feeling of superiority. Then they forget you. So whether you win or lose, their attention is temporary. And you have been trading your permanent life for their temporary attention. Do you see how expensive that is? This is why you must understand the difference between being respected and being liked. Being liked is fragile. Today they like you, tomorrow they don't. Being respected is stable. Even if they dislike you, they still know you stand for something. But here is the deeper truth. The strongest form of respect is self-respect, and self-respect begins the day you stop negotiating your worth with strangers. Now let me give you a picture. Imagine you are walking with a heavy bag. You have carried it so long you forgot it's there. Inside the bag are labels. Good enough, smart enough, successful enough, man enough, worthy enough. And every label has someone else's handwriting on it. Family, friends, teachers, the internet, random people. You didn't choose those labels, but you've been dragging them anyway. Then one day you put the bag down and you realize something terrifying. Without that bag, you don't know who you are. This is why people stay trapped. Not because the prison is strong, because they became familiar with the chains. So when I say nobody cares, I'm not trying to make you cold. I'm trying to help you remove the bag. Because when you stop trying to be seen, you finally start seeing. You start noticing your own breath, your own choices, your own discipline, your own patterns. You start living from the outside in and start living from the inside out. Now here's a micro truth that most people miss. Your mind will always look for proof that you matter to others, but it will rarely look for proof that you matter to yourself. So you keep checking messages, checking likes, checking replies, checking who viewed your story, checking if your effort was noticed. This is not connection, this is addiction. And yes, there is real psychology behind this. Your brain learns quickly, when I get a signal of approval, I feel relief. A little dopamine spike, a little validation, a little I exist. So it repeats the behavior again, again, again. But the relief never lasts, does it? Because approval is not a foundation, it's a flash. So you need a new foundation. And it starts with a decision that feels uncomfortable at first. I will do the right thing even if nobody claps. I will improve even if nobody notices. I will train even if nobody compliments my progress. I will build even if nobody believes in me. At first, your ego will panic because the ego doesn't want growth. The ego wants witnesses. The ego wants to be admired while it is still weak. It wants to be respected without earning it. It wants the result without the boring repetition. But your life is built in repetition. Your power is built in silence. Your character is built when nobody is watching. Let me challenge you with a question that feels like a punch. If nobody could ever see your success, would you still become great? If nobody could ever praise your discipline, would you still do it? If nobody could ever call you talented, would you still practice? If the answer is no, then you don't want greatness. You want applause. And applause is cheap. Now listen, I'm not telling you to stop caring about people. I'm telling you to stop needing people. There is a difference. Caring is love. Needing is dependence. When you need people to validate you, you become adjustable. You become flexible in the wrong way. You change your personality depending on the room. You betray your own standards to avoid discomfort. And then you wake up one day and you don't recognize yourself. You say, I lost myself. No, you traded yourself piece by piece for acceptance. So today we reverse the trade, we bring you back. And it begins with a simple practice. Learn to disappoint people. Not out of arrogance, out of honesty. If you say yes to everything, you are not kind. You are afraid. If you keep explaining yourself, you are not clear. You are begging. If you keep showing everyone your plans early, you are not confident. You are seeking protection from doubt. Because when you announce your dream and someone says nice, your ego feels safe. It feels like progress. But nothing has been built. You are still the same person with the same habits, just with more noise. So here is the discipline. Move in silence. Not because you are hiding, because you are working. Let the work speak later. Now this next part is important. Some of you have been hurt. You tried. You were laughed at. You were ignored. You were judged. You were not supported by the people you expected. And it left a mark. So when you hear nobody cares, it touches that wound. But what if that wound is also your doorway? Because the moment you accept that no one is coming to save you, you stop waiting. And waiting is what kills people slowly. Waiting for motivation, waiting for support, waiting for the perfect time, waiting for confidence, waiting to feel ready. Let me tell you something uncomfortable, you will not feel ready. Readiness is not a feeling. It's a skill you build by showing up unready. Confidence is not something you find. Confidence is something you earn through proof, small proof, daily proof, quiet proof. You earn confidence by making promises to yourself and keeping them, that's it. Not inspirational quotes, not big speeches, not fantasies, proof. So I want you to build a new identity, not I'm talented, not I'm special, not I'm different. Those identities are fragile. Build this one, I am consistent. Because a consistent person doesn't fear opinions. They don't fear trends. They don't fear moods. They have a practice. And practice makes you dangerous. Now let's talk about the fear that controls most lives. Embarrassment. Embarrassment is not death. It's not injury. It's not even permanent. It's a feeling created by imagination. You imagine a moment. You imagine someone judging you. Your body reacts as if the judgment is real. Heart rate changes. Breathing changes. Your stomach tightens, your face warms, so you avoid the situation. And every time you avoid it, your mind learns, good. Avoiding keeps me safe. That's how the cage is built. So the way out is not to think your way out. It's to behave your way out. Do the thing while feeling the fear. Speak while your voice shakes. Start while you feel unprepared. Post while your mind screams, what if they hate it? Go to the gym while you feel skinny. Study while you feel behind. Apply while you feel unqualified. Because the fear doesn't disappear first. The fear bows down after you act. And then something incredible happens. You realize nobody cared. They moved on. And you're still alive. And now your nervous system learns a new truth. I can survive discomfort. That is unstoppable. Let me give you another angle. Most people are afraid of being misunderstood. They want to explain everything. They want everyone to know their intentions. They want everyone to see their heart. But you must accept a mature reality. Some people will misunderstand you on purpose. Because if they understand you, they might have to respect you. And respect makes them uncomfortable because it reminds them of what they're not doing. So they reduce you. They label you. They mock you. They try to put you back in a small box where they feel safe. If you live for their understanding, you will never be free. Your job is not to be understood by everyone. Your job is to be aligned with yourself. Alignment gives you peace. And peace is power. Now pause. You feel that. Your mind is trying to interrupt. It's saying, but what about my family? What about my friends? What about my image? Good question. Listen carefully. I'm not telling you to become careless with your reputation. I'm telling you to stop letting reputation control your integrity. Because image is what people think you are. Integrity is who you are when nobody is watching. And the deepest confidence comes from knowing your own standards, not from guessing other people's moods. So here's a practice I want you to steal. Before you do something, ask, is this my value or their expectation? If it's their expectation, be careful. Because expectations are endless. You meet one, they raise it. You please one, another complains. You become perfect, they still criticize. Because criticism is not always about you. Sometimes criticism is a mirror of someone's own frustration. So choose values. Values are stable. Values guide you even when you're confused. Values give you direction when the world is noisy. Now, another micro truth, you cannot be both free and approved by everyone. Pick one. If you choose approval, your life becomes negotiation. If you choose freedom, your life becomes responsibility. And responsibility is heavy but clean. Because when you accept responsibility, you stop blaming, you stop complaining, you stop hoping life will be fair. You start asking better questions. Not why me, but what now? Not who will help me, but what can I do with what I have? Not what if they judge me, but what would I do if I didn't care? And when you start living like that, your energy changes. You walk differently, you speak differently, you make decisions faster. You stop seeking permission. People can feel it. That calm refusal to beg. That quiet, I'm not here to impress you. And this is the funny part. When you start chasing people's attention, you often get more respect because you are no longer easy to control. Now let's address the real enemy, comparison. Comparison is the fastest way to poison your discipline. You start working and then you look sideways, you see someone ahead, someone richer, someone praised, someone winning. And instantly your work feels small, but you don't see their sacrifices. You don't see their behind the scenes boredom. You don't see the years where nobody cared about them either. You only see the highlight. So you punish yourself with a story that isn't complete. This is why you must reduce your inputs. If your mind is constantly consuming other people's lives, it will struggle to build its own. Your attention is your life. Where you place it is what you become. So place it on your next action, not on the crowd, not on the comments, not on the critics, on the next action. Now, I want to give you something concrete you can do today, something you can feel. Pick one thing you've been delaying because of other people. Just one. A workout, a phone call, a message, a skill, a project, a boundary you keep avoiding. Then do it today in a way that's intentionally imperfect, not sloppy, just imperfect. Why? Because perfection is often just fear wearing a nice suit. Perfection says, if I do it perfectly, they cannot criticize me, but they still will. And you still wasted time. So choose progress over protection. And while you do it, repeat a sentence in your head. They're not watching. They're not keeping score. They are busy with themselves. And even if someone does watch, even if someone does judge, even if someone does laugh, what happens? You breathe. You continue. You don't shrink. Because your life is not a vote. It's a path. Now listen to me, this is where the transformation becomes real. When you truly accept nobody cares, you stop living like you're on trial. You stop defending every move. You stop crafting excuses. You stop explaining your ambition. You start doing. You become less emotional in decisions, more direct in actions, not cold clear. You stop trying to be understood. You start trying to be disciplined. You stop chasing confidence. You start building competence. You start asking, am I enough? And you start asking, am I consistent? And consistency changes you in a way motivation never will. Because motivation is a visitor. Discipline is a resident. And when discipline moves in, your life transforms quietly, not with fireworks, with results, with strength, with a mind that no longer collapses every time it's not praised. Now I'm going to pull you back to the beginning. Remember what I said? Nobody cares. At first it hurts, but then it becomes the most relieving sentence you've ever heard. Because it means you can fail without being destroyed. You can learn without being embarrassed. You can start without being ready. You can change without asking permission. You can be a beginner again, and becoming a beginner again is how you become unstoppable. Because unstoppable is not someone who never falls. Unstoppable is someone who falls, stands up, and doesn't make a drama out of it. They don't need a crowd to restart. They don't need applause to continue. They don't need approval to improve. They just return to the practice. Again, again, again. And every again is a brick. And one day you look back and realize you built a life that doesn't depend on anyone's opinion. And that is the first time you truly feel what freedom feels like. So before you go back to your day, before you scroll again, before you ask for another sign, another reassurance, another yes from the world. Try this, sit still for 1 minute. No performance, no proving, just you. And ask yourself quietly, what would I do today if I truly accepted that nobody cares? And then do the smallest version of that thing today while your mind complains, while your ego resists, while the old habit begs you to wait. Because that moment right there, that moment where you act without being witnessed, that is where your new life begins. And if you can repeat that moment tomorrow and the day after, you will start noticing something strange happening inside you. A calmness, a sharper focus, a quieter mind, a stronger spine, and you'll realize you're not trying to be seen anymore. You're trying to be solid, you're trying to be real, you're trying to be the kind of person who can keep a promise even when nobody's clapping, even when nobody's commenting, even when nobody is cheering, because your standards are no longer